This is John Cola with DiscountJuicers.com. Today I have another exciting episode for you. And this was spawned by a viewer, actually. He wrote in and said, "Hey John, what appliance do I need to make coconut milk? Do I need a juicer or do I need a blender?" Because I saw, a lot of people make the coconut milks in the blender and then, you make it in the juicer. So this video is going to answer that question once and for all. Plus, it's also going to let you know, how to make the coconut milk. I go through a lot of coconuts here. This is the standard brown coconut that you may be familiar with. It's more mature, doesn't have a lot of good water content, and I mainly buy the coconuts for the liquid contained inside. Instead of buying a Zico or one of those other bottled coconut waters, I think it's best to get foods as found in nature. So if I want coconut water, I'm not going to buy a package. I'm going to buy a real coconut. And based on my calculations, I found that actually buying a coconut in most cases is actually cheaper than buying the coconut water in the package. Plus, besides just getting the coconut water, you're going to get the delicious coconut meat. So I have an abundance of extra coconut meat here because I always drink the water and don't eat the meat a lot. So what I usually do with the meat is actually take it out and dehydrate it so I can have my own coconut shreds for later. Or I'll make something like this to make the coconut milk, which I can use in different recipes, or actually I've been using it in the ice cream maker to make some kick-ass vegan ice creams. But today we're just going to show you how to use the coconut milk because I think that, coconut milk to drink it is far better than drinking any dairy, kind of milk or whatnot. In my opinion, dairy is not necessary. And I want you guys to think about that for a minute. Dairy is not necessary. We don't need dairy to live. There's no specific nutrients in dairy that we require. And when we're drinking dairy, we're getting our nutrients secondhand. That's secondhand from the animal that produced it based on what they ate. So I say make your own milk from plants because that's what the animals are eating to make their milk. So I like to make the coconut milk. That by far is my favorite milk due to the lauric acid content and the medium chain fatty acids that are so beneficial. And I don't like eating extracted coconut oil because that's 100% fat, but in the coconut milk you got a lot more nutrition because not only do you have the fat, but you also have some of the fibers left over and all the other different nutrients and phytochemicals that's contained within the coconut. So let's get back to the question, what's better for coconut milk, a juicer or a blender? Well, let me give you the secret. In general, right, if you want a juice, you want to get a juicer. If you want to do another task in the kitchen, then you want to get a blender. The blenders, for the most part, are a lot more versatile than the juicers. For example, this is the Omega Vert juicer, and the Omega Vert juicer pretty much only juices and makes coconut milk. And yes, you could kind of make your, frozen banana sorbets and nut butters in it, but it's not really, designed to do that. There are other juicers, such as the Omega 8004, 8006, that will not really make coconut milk too well, but will also do the nut butters and the frozen fruit sorbets. That being said, the best, of course, to make the coconut milk or any nut milk is actually the blender. So actually, why don't we just go ahead and get into that, now that you guys know this. Now, one of the things that has come out a lot lately is that, there's now taken certain companies are promoting their juicer as an almond milk maker. And while I think drinking almond milk is definitely better than drinking cow milk, in my opinion, making almond milk in a juicer, when you put in the whole almonds or whole pieces of coconut chunks in the juicer, that's a bad idea. Why? Because you're not going to get the optimal nutrition out of the almonds. While the juicer does break the nuts down, it's going to be far better to actually put the nuts into the blender to break them down because you're going to get a much better extraction and more of the nutrients out, more of that fatty acid content out of the extraction into your milk, so it's just going to taste that much better. So that being said, some juicers will do the milk making, but I always recommend the blender, and that's what I'm going to show you guys today with a twist, and that's why I have the juicer on the table as well. First thing is we need to get out our coconut meat. So you saw, I generally like to use the white coconuts. They're lower in fat than the standard browns. Plus I drink these for the water. The water tastes 10 times better than the brown coconut. So we're going to go ahead and put this guy to the side over here. And I basically pop a hole through the coconut. As you can see, every coconut has 3 holes. It has 2 eyes and a mouth, much like us, 2 eyes and a mouth. And the coconut is actually called the monkey face because if you look closely, the coconuts always have 2 little eyebrows on 2 of the holes, and those are the eyes, and then one hole does not have a brow, and that's the mouth. The mouth is the easiest spot in the coconut to put a, put a screwdriver through, or I have a special coconut opening tool. I pop a hole in there through the mouth only, and then stick a straw to drink the water out, but then I'm left with all the meat. So what do we do with the meat? Once the meat's in there, we need to get it open. So I got a nice cleaver here, and we're just gonna basically tap the middle like it was the like it's the earth, and you're tapping around the equator, and we're gonna tap and turn, tap, turn, tap, turn, tap, turn, tap, turn, tap, turn. And if you do this good enough, what'll happen is it'll actually open up, much like the earth, and journey to the center of the earth. Actually, that was a joke. So once you got it open, then the next part is to get the coconut meat out. Now, many of you guys might use a knife, or a butter knife, or some tool to try to get in there, but it can be very challenging to get the coconut meat out. So I found this really cool tool. It's a coconut demeating tool. This is available at youngcoconuts.com. All you do is simply take this tool, which has actually a sharp knife edge, so you do want to be careful about this. If you do live in Brooklyn, and you're a lady, you could carry this in your purse and take it out and jab people with it if they're trying to accost you. But I just don't live in Brooklyn, so I'm using it to get my coconut meat out. So all you do is you take this tool and you put it in between the shell and the coconut meat like that. And I like to just stick it in all the way, and then I'll kind of like turn it as I'm working it around the whole coconut. Now, I always encourage you guys, to make coconut milk out of fresh coconut. While you can do this with the dried coconut shreds from the store, it's definitely not the same. You want the food to have life in it, because the life that's in the food transfers to your life and makes you more lifeful or rejuvenated. So I like eating live foods. And one of the reasons why I like the juices in the blender is that they allow you to eat more live foods, or foods that are alive. In my opinion, life begots life. So as you can see, I'm working away around this coconut. I've stuck this tool in all the way. I've loosened up the majority of the coconut meat. And once you get in there, you then try to stick this tool in further and keep rocking your hand back and forth. And as you can see, if you're successful, you'll get a little bowl out. So this would be a cool serving dish, or actually you could even, if you're like a woodworker, you could sand this stuff down and make little bowls out of these things. Probably really cool. But actually I just compost these. And what you're going to notice is on the back of the coconut, you're going to get some part of the shell fragments. Not necessarily the shell, but it's like a thin membrane. Now, you might say, John, do I need to remove that membrane to make my coconut milk? Well, if you're an anal chef person that, doesn't want their coconut milk to look kind of brown tinged, you'll want to take it off. For me, I don't want to waste the time. I'll throw it in there, and, I'll end up removing this later, as I will be removing most of the fiber. So what we're going to do next is actually we're just going to go ahead and take the top off the blender, and we're going to add this to the blender. Now, very important to make sure there's no large cell fragments. While you can't have the membrane, you don't want any hard piece of shell, because that may mess up the blender or mess up the next step after we blend it. So I like to just break this up into small pieces to make it easier for the blender to work. And it's very easy to do with your hand. And once we have that half in the blender, then we're going to go ahead and separate out the other half. Alright, so as you can see, I got that side out. Once again, makes a nice bowl there. And once again, we're just going to go ahead and make sure there's no major shell fragments on here. The membrane, once again, is fine. We're going to tear that up and put it in the blender. Now, one of the things with the coconut is to make a milk, you need to add the water. So many times I might like to use the water in the coconut, but many times I like to drink the water in the coconut because it's so full of electrolytes. And then I got the meat, and I want the meat to taste good. And while you could just chomp down and eat the meat, I prefer to blend it into a liquid state and actually make more surface area. And that's what the blender does. It basically, with the blades, the sharp blades and the Vitamix, basically grind up and fractionate the food into smaller particle size so that there's more surface area so that you'll get better digestion. So instead of using the coconut water, what I like to do is add like a nice filtered water here. And we're going to add to one whole coconut meat, we're going to add approximately 32 ounces of water. Now you can use a little bit less, you can use more. Like if you want to make a more of a cream, coconut cream, you could add very minimal water, or actually just use the coconut to extract the fat out. I'm adding the water to make more of a milk. Now you can add more water if you like more of a watery consistency. I found that 32 ounces per one coconut is about the right balance so that I get the right amount of milk to my water. Once we do that, we're going to go ahead and put the top on the Vitamix. Now I am using the Vitamix Turbo Blend VS, and the Vitamix Turbo Blend VS is the blender, the Vitamix blender that I recommend to you. Vitamix has many different models, and most models are pretty much the same. They have similar power, they have a similar carafe. The main difference is the accessories that come with it. So the reason why I like the Turbo Blend VS over the other Vitamix models is number one, the recipe book. So this is a raw, vegan, and vegetarian recipes. The standard recipe book that comes with most Vitamixes is a standard American, recipe book. So if you keep doing what you've always been doing, then you're gonna get the same result. So, if you eat a standard American diet and it's not working for you, maybe you're overweight and things aren't working, you can't continue to eat those same foods even if they're processed in the Vitamix. You wanna make dietary changes to get better and, results that you're looking for. So, I've been eating a plant-based, healthy diet for the last 18 years. I've never been healthier, and I know you guys could do it too, and that's why I like this recipe book. I mean, this thing folds out. It'll actually sit up on your countertop. It has, literally hundreds of recipes here that'll teach you how to eat a plant-based, healthy diet. And even if you don't eat all plant-based, have one day a week where you eat plants instead of, other stuff. And, that alone is making an improvement in your diet, and I always encourage you guys to improve whatever you're doing each and every day. So this book has a myriad of beverages, soups, dips and spreads, sauces, entrees, sides, desserts, and even dressings and marinades that you can make. In addition, this also comes with, unlike any other Vitamix, it comes with a hemp nut milk bag. And this is the little tool you will need to make the coconut milk or any other nut milk, including hemp milk, almond milk, cashew milk, macadamia nut milk, with the blender and the nut milk bag without using the juicer. We'll show you more about this in a second, but let's next go ahead and blend this guy up. So once you added the coconut meat and the water, the next step is to blend. I always like to start the blender on low. This has a nice variable speed. Once it starts getting going, then we'll crank it up to high. Now it's very important you have a high power blender. Most blenders will not process the coconut meat like this. They'll glug up and it'll leave big fragments. So it's very imperative you have a powerful blender to fractionate it so you're gonna make the best coconut milk. So once that's running a little bit, you can now stop the blender, and as you can see, we have a nice mixture here of the coconut meat and the water. And you might think, John, is that the coconut milk? Well, this has a lot of fiber, and while you could drink this if you want a nice fibrous milk, and let me go ahead and try that today. It's full of grit. This is not a good coconut milk. I don't like it. So what we want to do next is we want to remove the fiber in there because we just want the nice, creamy, milky texture without all the grit, the fiber. So two things you could do. Number one, you're going to take a standard bowl, or I got a Anchor Hawking 4-cup measuring cup here that's glass, available at your local big box store. And then you're going to take the nut milk bag, and don't worry, if you forget these instructions I'm telling you, they got a little insert that explains how to use the nut milk bag that comes with the Vitamix. You're going to then take the nut milk bag. You're going to just spread it over your little container here, whether you're using a bowl or a measuring cup. And then you're going to pour the mixture into the nut milk bag. Then what's going to happen is you're going to lift this up. The water or the milk will actually come through the holes and into your container. And then you also may need to wring this out and whatnot. And then you're going to be left with two things. You're going to separate the fiber from the milk. So the milk's going to be in here, the fiber is going to be left in here. And then you need to clean the bag. And that's the easiest way to make the coconut milk. With the Vitamix Turbo Blend VS, once again, you get the blender and the nut milk bag, everything you need to make the nut milk, besides the coconuts or the nuts and the purified water. Now, if you don't want to use the nut milk bag, because, this kind of gets messy, you got to wring it out with your hands, and you got to clean the nut milk bag, which, fibers get stuck in here, and I don't like it so much. You could do the easy way, and that's what I'm going to show you guys next, is that's by using the Omega Vert as the second step. Now, you guys could use the Omega Vert as the only step to make nut milk. So, you know, when we took out the coconut meat and had the water, we could put a piece of coconut in there and then pour some water down the spout. But that's not going to work nearly as well as the way that I'm showing you guys today. I always want you guys to do it the best you can, and the best way is going to get you better results. I mean, if you do it the other way by taking chunks of coconut meat, putting it in here with pouring a water down at the same time, it's going to be a really, you know, watery coconut milk. It's not going to be rich and thick because we haven't fully fractionated the coconut up like we have in the Vitamix with its really sharp blades. And, you know, I do want to mention that the Vitamix of all the blenders I've tested to date has the sharpest blades and going to do the best job at cutting instead of beating like other high-power blenders might. So next we're going to go ahead and turn the juicer on. We have this set up to juice, and I mean all you have to do is turn this machine on, and now we're just going to simply pour the mixture through the Omega Vert. And what I like to do is I like to let it fill up the spout to the top, but not go into the little funnel here. And as you can see instantly, what we're getting out is coconut milk on this side, and slowly but surely we're getting some of the pulp out over on this side. Now, I mean, the juicer, that's what the juicer is designed to do. It's designed to take a carrot and separate the pulp from the liquid. And that's what we're doing here. We're just separating out the coconut pulp from the coconut liquid or the coconut milk. In addition, you may notice that I do have a little strainer here. Now, the Omega Vert is notorious for making more pulp in the juice than other juicers. So I like to also just use a secondary strainer to ensure I'm getting a rich coconut milk without the pulp. And as you can see, there's not a whole lot of, you know, pulp coming out of the juicer, but there is some. All right, so check it out, man. You can now see the coconut fiber coming out of the juicer on this side. And you know what? This does take some time. You're not going to be done in 2 minutes, 2 seconds. You know, you're going to have to take some time and wait. But let me tell you, the wait is worth it because, you know, if you've ever used a nut milk bag before, it gets quite messy. Plus, I think also the Omega Vert juicer, besides making the coconut milk, is quite beneficial to have in your kitchen so that you can extract the nutrients, the liquid gold from the vegetables. You know, it's very easy to eat fruits and digest the fruits and get the nutrition out of the fruits because of their soft texture, but because of the vegetables have a hard fibrous cell walls, it's really hard to digest it well, especially if you're not chewing each mouthful 200 times. I mean, why do we feed babies baby food, right, that's in a mush? Because they don't have the teeth. Well, we should be chewing each mouthful 200 times, and when we could extract it with the juicer, just the liquid, because our bodies will absorb the nutrients and only in a liquid state, the little villi in our intestines, you're gonna get the most and quickest nutrition punch ever. Let's go ahead and grab some of this fiber here. I'm gonna go ahead and let some of this stuff come out in my hand and then show you guys. I mean, these coconut shreds are really dry. I mean, I can't even squeeze it as hard as I can to get any moisture out. Stuff's really dry. So, you know, if you really wanted to, you could actually take this and do baking with it still. It's basically, for the most part, defatted coconut fiber. You could also actually dehydrate this and use this in different recipes. I personally just compost this and feed it to my bacteria in my compost pile. Let's go ahead and add more of the liquid there. Now, it's very important when using the Omega Vert with this technique, you do not want to use the pusher, and in general, when using the Omega Vert to juice in, I do not recommend use the pusher either. You're probably feeding the produce in too fast if you are. In addition, if you do have an Omega Vert, please check my other videos on YouTube for the best practices video where I show exactly how to use the Omega Vert to get the best results when juicing with it. Because you can't just start sticking any old thing in there and it's going to juice and expect the best results. You need to, you know, do and follow proper procedures to get the best results. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and lift this up now because it's literally swimming in the milk, and I think we got just a little bit more milk here to put in. Alright, so that's pretty much the rest of the milk now, right in through the Omega Vert. As you can see, this collected very little pulp coming out. The Omega Vert does an exceptional job at doing this. Now, you know, much like many of you guys and ladies out there might have many pairs of shoes, I have many juicers in my kitchen that I get to select from based on the specific task I want to do. If I'm making coconut milk, I always pick the Omega Vert. It's the juicer that does it the best. If I'm juicing carrots and I want the highest extraction, highest yield, then I'll use the Green Star Elite. If I want to be done very quickly, I'll use a centrifugal ejection juicer because it's done really fast. But when I do that, I'm giving up, potentially 50% of some of the nutrients are sticking with the pulp because those machines run at high speed and they're not super efficient at breaking open the fiber cells and getting all the nutrition out like some of the slow juicers are. So as you can see, the juicer's pretty much slowed down to a crawl. Not much liquid is coming out anymore, and as you can see, I have very little pulp in the basket. I think I dropped a little pulp when I was showing you guys the pulp in there, but other than that, there's pretty much no pulp in there. Next, I like to go ahead and take this over, put it on this side, and as you can see, I have the rich, delicious coconut milk, over 4 cups here, and it's totally fiber-free. That's the most delicious coconut milk I've ever tasted. Now, once you make the coconut milk, this will store. I like to store it for no more than 3 to 4 days in the fridge, kept cold in an airtight glass sealed container filled up to the brim. And as you may notice, I did not do any flavorings or additives to this. Now, when you buy coconut milk, almond milk, or any nut milk in the store, they're often adding carrageenan and salt and flavoring and probably sugar. And I want you guys to eat as natural as possible. And when you have these machines, this will allow you to process your own nuts or coconuts at home. And once you make it, then you could add sweeteners, whether you want to add dates to make it sweet or some honey to make it sweet. One of the ways I like to use the coconut milk is I don't eat cereal, so I don't add this to my cereal like you guys could. I like to use it in smoothies. So I'll actually fill up the blender with the milk alone with a few bananas and some strawberries and some blueberries and blend it up into a delicious, rich smoothie. So I think that pretty much does it for today's episode. So which appliance is best for making the coconut milk? By far, it's the blender. But when you use the blender and the juicer, I think you get the best of both worlds. I mean, no matter what, want you guys to remember, the more ways you can include the fresh fruits and vegetables, including the coconuts, in your diet, I believe the healthier you will be than eating the standard American processed foods and diets that are really rich in animal products. I think plants for the future. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Once again, my name is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Be sure to visit DiscountJuicers.com/YouTube for special promotional offers for our YouTube visitors.